James Fowler's faith development theory began in his work as a minister, listening to the stories of the people who came across his path. Fowler's theory was meant to be developmental, like the theories of Erikson, Piaget, and Kohlberg, among other development theorists. He conducted interviews with 359 people spanning across the entire lifespan from 1972 to 1981. All study participants considered themselves to adhere to some sort of religious practice, even though Fowler does not use the terms faith and religion interchangeably. The following are the 6 stages of Fowler's faith development theory, including a pre-stage. Throughout the rest of this video, we will be sharing examples of each of the stages, as well as a transition stage that Fowler includes as well. During pre-stage 1 or stage 0, infants develop their faith in relation to their caretakers. This is a person's primal faith interaction and the first impression they have of God. In stage 1, intuitive projective faith, toddlers develop their perception of God based on stories and pictures that family has introduced them growing up. This stage starts when a child begins language development. In stage 2, called mythic literal faith, children and sometimes adults accept the stories that they have been told by others in their life without question. These form the basis of their personal beliefs without reflecting on their own thoughts. This usually begins around ages 6 to 7 and can extend into adulthood. Synthetic conventional faith usually begins during adolescence, when teens' cognitive development allows them to think abstractly and integrate multiple points of view. They take ideas from their family, peers, media, and their religious community into consideration, although they cannot critically evaluate their faith. They rely on support from others to affirm their decisions. Stage 4, individuative reflective faith, usually occurs during late adolescent or early adulthood when one takes responsibility for his or her own commitments and beliefs. During this stage, the self no longer relies on external sources of authority. Many people who go off to college, for example, encounter for the first time people with very different beliefs and values, and this often drives them to critically examine the value they grew up with from their family and church. Stage 5, conjunctive faith, involves recognizing one's deeper self. This usually occurs during one's midlife. People in this stage are willing to engage in dialogue with those of other faiths, knowing that they might learn something that will allow them to correct their own truths. People in stage 5 are learning how to re-engage with some type of faith beyond their rational control and may recognize partially true aspects of their faith and choose not to engage with them. Stage 6, universalizing faith, is extremely rare. Few people ever achieve this stage. Some include Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mother Teresa. People in this stage are able to sacrifice their own well-being to that of their cause. These people's contributions to society are so radically different from the views of the rest of the world. They risk their own safety in order to help those who cannot help themselves. Fowler indicated that the process of faith development was instigated by some sort of dissonance between an experience and a perceived reality. This can be compared to other theorists' use of the term crisis. This disconnect causes a person to transition from one stage of faith development to another. The transition is by no means automatic, however. Fowler indicated a period of transition that could be split into 3 stages that occurs between each stage of faith development. The first transitional stage, called endings, is indicated by 4 experiences: disengagement from something that used to give life meaning, disidentification from your old sense of identity, disenchantment with your view of reality, and disorientation caused by the precious 3 feelings. The second transitional stage is the neutral zone, where a person is living through what leaving their old way of thinking really means. Then, a person can experience the new beginnings phase and begin to create their new world. This is a phase in which a person needs a lot of support from a mentor or a spiritual guide.